Good morning, Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from our corporate headquarters in Lagos State in Nigeria. I am Henry Igwebike, and I would love to especially welcome everyone, wherever it is you are watching or streaming from around the world. We say welcome to Lagos State in Nigeria. I am Henry Igwebike, and let's kickstart today on an interesting note, starting from our newspapers, and right after that, in a jiffy would be our conversation for today. Do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can find us, reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have live in our studios Emeka Madnagu, journalist, public affairs analyst, development communicator, to see through everything we have from our newspapers and crisscrossing to our conversation for today. Good morning to you, Emeka.
Yeah. My pleasure. Good morning.
Yes. So,
happy Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day
definitely
to Nigeria. Yeah.
Yes, very well. And equally, a sad one, the Nigerians are actually not happy. We were kicked out of the AFCON last night.
Were we kicked out, or our boys played well?
But we didn't.
They were against the host nation. It's not easy.
How do you mean?
It's not easy beating the host nation. Their fans, the crowd, the pressure. It's not easy.
Some people will call that excuses because
no, it's not excuses. Our boys played 120. Was it 90 minutes? In fact, 120 minutes,
120 minutes
without any goal being scored against us. It tells a lot. By host nation, it tells a lot. So those boys did well. They could have done better, but of course they did well, and I hope that they will get better as time goes on.
All right, we hope they get better, but it's been a very long time. We thought we were going to win the AFCON Cup the last time it was hosted in Ivory Coast. We didn't do that. Morocco, we thought it was going to work. This time around, it's not going to work. And I learned the next AFCON will be the next 4 years. It's no longer 2 years. It's 4 years now. So I do not know if the crop of young boys we have now will still make it to the next AFCON in 4 years' time. But we truly do hope that this unifying factor, the football, will be managed well. The best of the best should be allowed to participate in it, so Nigeria can make itself proud. But let's move to the Daily Trust newspaper for today. Big story, 60 years after Sardauna, Balewa, and Akintola. Yes, today marks 60 years after the January 15th, 1966 forced coup that ousted the first Republic Prime Minister and President. And today we're marking that exactly. Let's take a look at that historical fact there. Lots of people would say that coup was inevitable. There's nothing that would have stopped it, and so on. And other people said we weren't prepared at that point, that our colonialism would have continued for a bit in order to have avoided that from not happening. And many other things that people have stated. But of course, we've lost a very significant, symbolic people in Nigeria. What was your take on that historical fact?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I wonder, Daily Trust just mentioning 3 figures.
Yes.
Out of all the people that were killed, I think it is bigotry, of a very ridiculous kind. You see, and which is sad, what the Nigerian media has become, purveyors, of bigotry. Instead of, addressing issues, Nigerian media dives into, specious narratives. If not, you just brought up just 3 names, as if those were the only people who died in the coup. And it tells, it is part of that deliberate, mischievous, and horrible messaging that has been pushed in the past 60 years that, it was an Igbo coup because it was led by Chukwuma Nzogu. But even a book, why we struck by Major Ademoyega, has said it clearly that there were issues, that they struck because of principle. It had nothing to do with ethnic coloration. It had no ethnic coloration. It had nothing to do with, you say people will say, why weren't any Igbo people killed? And I said that that's not correct. That's not correct. So, but the thing is that you see in our nation, One of the reasons why we are not progressing is that we often fail to look at the bigger picture, which is that as a collective, as a nation, as a country, we are not making progress. So instead of us to sit down together and say, what can we do? How can we redouble our efforts to do better? How can we become more united? How can we, sort out our differences and work together? No, what we try to do is that we don't look for whom to blame. And that is the outcome of lazy thinking, which permeates all sectors. All sectors. We keep looking for scapegoats to blame, instead of us taking the blame ourselves. Why? How come? You see, there are some accounts that say that after the coup, that there was celebration in some parts of the Middle Belt. Why was that? Why were those celebrations? Why did they have those celebrations? Well, of course, because some people were not happy that they were not happy about the rule of the Premier of the Northern region. They were not happy. They were not happy. Yes, some people in the Middle Belt, yes, were said not to be happy, And so with him out of the way, they felt, that yes, they were free, So what we must be very careful with is this: the way we frame issues. Let's know that whatever framing we bring to issues will ultimately come back to us. If we decide to twist issues, it was an Igbo coup. The fact that it was an Igbo coup has not made the military in Nigeria less ambitious. Just a few months ago, sometime last year, some soldiers officers were accused of plotting a coup against, President Bola Tinubu. So if it was an Igbo coup, is it Igbos who have been organizing coups since that time? The answer is no. So why don't we throw that narrative away and work towards the fact that, look, in all the coups that have happened in Nigeria, that, people have died needlessly, that, lives have been lost, and we have not made significant progress economically, socially, and in different ways. So why don't we drop all this, division? Why don't we highlight our uniting factors and work hard? Let's see whether in the next 60 years, whether we'll still have a Federal Republic of Nigeria, whether we would have been able to come to a point where we can live as brothers and sisters, where Nigerians can live in any part of the country, as long as they're engaged in legitimate business, where all this ethnic profiling, trolling, hate, and all of, you just wonder at how the mental state of some people, when you see certain things they write, you just know that this one ought to see a psychiatrist. This one is not normal. Because no normal human being will sit down and type some things. I was just reading one last night. I told the guy, I said, you need to say, you are not well. You are not well at all. Because at the end of the day, what do you gain from this nonsense? And the lady who posted it, I told her, I said, you lack understanding. That's why you post such nonsense. That's why you post such nonsense. And thankfully she removed it. She deleted it. Because what the sick fellow did was to put the image of a prominent Nigerian. So when you're reading it, you think he was the one who wrote it. And I asked the lady, can't you see what you're doing? Don't you know the implication of what you're doing? That this man whose image is there doesn't write like this. So why will you do such a? Is it that you just see anything online and you pick it? Is it that an adult like you cannot distill and see the difference? So what we need to do, we have the opportunity to put the past behind us and interrogate the issues confronting us so that we can make progress.
Very well said. It's very important that we put the past behind us. Nigeria is not the first, actually. We've had historically many countries that have gone through lots of issues like this. Germany is one of those countries. Just imagine Germany, which is the second largest economy the biggest economy in Europe and the third largest in the world. Just imagine Germany still licking its wounds and telling itself, we should blame ourselves, we should blame United States and many other countries, or the UK and France, to have made what they have done. But they have moved on, and they did that in unison, holding on to themselves and believing that a greater Germany is theirs. And I would love to believe that would have happened in Nigeria if we are to unify ourselves against the little edged things that surround us. But let's move to other stories. We have still from the Daily Trust newspaper. Federal government pauses on tax laws guidelines, cites uncertainty. Emeka, what does this mean? Have they totally removed it? What is the guideline exactly? Because it's very important we understand what exactly it is a post.
No, the point is that too many things were put into the tax laws. And now with the alterations of the tax laws, they don't even know what is the objective. Is it to bring more people into the tax net? Is it to impoverish Nigerians? Is it to destroy Nigerians? Is it what exactly? I mean, look at the vexatious 7.5% on online transactions. I thought we were heading towards a cashless system. With the guidelines brought out by the CBN last year, I thought, Nigeria was not, heading to a cashless system. That that the CBN was trying to had put some guidelines, to discourage cash withdrawals and encourage online transactions. Mm-hmm. How do you now go again to the online transactions to put 7.5%? So if I'm transferring 1 million, I will pay 75,000. And they forget one thing, that Nigeria does not have a technology. Nigeria is not sophisticated enough to handle, some complexities in the global financial system. For instance, like cryptocurrency. I know a lot of people who have abandoned even organizations in Nigeria that have abandoned the traditional banking financial system. They trade in crypto. So, so all of these things, you will pay VAT and all that. It's not necessary. Why would you put 7.5% VAT? What is it? I mean, who bears the cost? Yesterday, a friend of mine was telling me of a dispute he had with a former colleague of his. Both of them were, involved in this tax business. And they did one business together. And then the friend was saying that he should have paid the VAT. After all, they are friends. And he said, what? That I told you to, that in paying this money, you know the rules. That you are the one who is supposed to pay the VAT. Now it now became, a bone of contention. Who will pay VAT? Because the money is much. The money is much. So, when you even see Nigerians crying about about even the little deductions, we may call it little, but it amounts to millions. Deductions by banks. Then you're now bringing something that I don't understand though. Then, so where do they want Nigerians to go to? Transfers, you're saying 7.5%. You don't do that. It's not done. You have to find a way to cushion the effect of the bad economy. And that's why I said at the point that the president should stop Taiwo Yedele, from talking. He has done his work in drafting the tax laws. Return the assignment to the Central Bank, Federal Ministry of Finance, and the National Revenue Service. Let them sort out gray areas. But when one man keeps talking today, he says that that government will deduct money from any money that comes into accounts, and that banks will have the power to place a lien on accounts, and then you now turn around tomorrow and say it's not true. Look, government is arrogating powers to this man that he doesn't have. He's a mayor committee. He was heading a mayor committee. We have a minister of finance, a minister of state for finance, a minister of budget and planning, minister of state for budget and planning, who went through Senate screening. They were asked questions by the Senate. Why would you now bring a mayor committee head to come and be making weighty pronouncements that have to do with your fiscal policy, your fiscal and monetary policies? Well, you have a central bank governor who is actually supposed to be independent. So, at the end of the day, I'm not surprised that they are possible because the whole thing is a mess.
Especially with the revelation by KPMG, that cited lots of loopholes and.
No, Oyedele was not arguing with them. On what basis? What power does Oyedele have? What powers does he have? KPMG pointed out certain loopholes. But they was not arguing that you don't understand. That's a KPMG. Does he understand? Yes, I know you are cited as one of the most knowledgeable people in tax in Africa, but you're one man. KPMG is an organization. And
it's an institution.
It's an institution. It's a global institution. So before they bring out something, it will have gone through, a rigorous process. So for you to now be saying that you are pausing on it, when you have already started, you have already caused so much of upheaval in the system. Look at some landlords now charging VAT on rental income. Charging VAT on rental income. Now you are coming to say no. That VAT, people now have to intervene to say no. You cannot charge VAT on rental income. But you said that any money that enters into corporate accounts, right, that they are obligated to pay VAT. But again, within the same guidelines, you are saying that if your turnover is up to 25%, that you are not obligated to pay VAT or company income tax. Yet, even before this tax law, Federal Inland Revenue Service had been known to be harassing people. And you can clearly see that this man's turnover, but they will just, put a very high figure. And then something alien to our laws was inserted into tax law. Under our laws, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty by court. But in this case now, the NRS now has power to presume you guilty. So it's now, the onus is now on you to prove yourself innocent. How can a man who does not have the power of a court, who does not have judicial powers, come and prove me guilty? On what basis? You want to start, you want to ignite anarchy. Yeah. You want to ignite chaos.
The Wild West.
You want to ignite chaos. They saw what happened in Kenya. Look at what is happening in Iran. It's also partly because of economic situation. Look at around the world. Look at France. Sometime last year, when they increased, when they put a road tax, people were now asking the government of Madam Macron, is it because we are not rich enough to stay inside the cities? Yeah. So we now stay in the suburbs and drive to work and back. Is that why you are punishing us with a road tax? And name it, even in the United States, when Donald Trump came in, there was a scarcity of eggs, and people were protesting. Donald Trump had to approach 3 European nations to help, to supply eggs to the United States, so that, the price of eggs will not, get out of reach. So I think the entire thing is a mess. They should suspend. I said it before, that the tax law should be suspended and subjected to a rigorous scrutiny. Because, yes, I support the payment of tax, but I also support responsible governance. A situation where one criminal will just sit down because it's the public office, a criminally minded character will steal billions, and he will just get away with a slap on the wrist. No way. If you are putting tax laws, put it in the law that anybody who is found culpable of stealing public funds will face capital punishment or life imprisonment. When you do that, let me tell you, people will pay tax willingly.
Yeah, because we cannot excuse the Accountant General of the Federation during the Muhammad Buhari, who stole about
197 billion. And the man is still working free.
And the one who took over,
the other
equally took
the one before him,
10 billion.
And the one after him.
It's actually very, very sad. And I was speaking of the unbanked in Nigeria. About 20+ million Nigerians are unbanked. Not because they do not have money, but because they do not trust our financial system. And with all of these taxes and 7.3% for e-transfers, do you think many Nigerians would rather prefer to remain unbanked, have their cash? And lots of people would even say, if you don't pay me cash, don't even pay me at all. And that is where we are headed if this is actually not taken care of. But let's move to the Guardian newspaper for today. We have straight to the talking point, Emeka. Professors to earn extra 1.8 million naira yearly in new federal government ASU pact. Now, when someone hears 1.8 million, it looks like they are being paid 1.8 million every month, but that's not what it is. Professors still take home between 400 and 500,000 naira. Now, the 1.8 million divided by 12 gives us roughly about 160,000 naira
additional.
In addition. So what means if a professor who earns 400,000 naira, 1 plus 100
gross.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Not netto.
Yes.
Gross.
So it means that
we have not broken it down. Home. We have not removed.
Yes.
We have not removed PIT, personal income tax, pay as you earn. We have not removed tax on housing. We have not removed tax on transport. Right? So you see Nigerians, Nigerian media. I keep begging my colleagues, stop amplifying ignorance.
Because it would have been better to really state how much a professor takes home every
What
month.
at the end of the month, what is the net?
What is the net?
If somebody takes home 550,
Yes.
you know that the new tax law talk about progressive taxation. So anything up to 800,000 in a year is zero tax. But for 1.2 million, 15% in a year. So calculate 550 or 600. 600 times 12 months is 7.2 million. Right? So when you begin to, calculate the tax, and what will remain? What will be left? Because, I was calculating the other day for somebody earning 200,000 naira a month, by the time you remove all of those things, you have about, you have income tax of like 27,500 naira a month. Then by the time you remove this, the person may be, when you look at everything, the person may end up with just about 150 or 140,000 naira every month. But you say the person is earning 200,000. Now, the transfer to his account, who is going to bear the 7.5% VAT? Will the employers bear it? Don't forget, you remove 8% for pension. You remove, I think, 5% for health insurance, if it's for an organization that has health insurance, and then some other little things like that. So at the end of the day, somebody earning gross of 600,000 naira in a month, times 12, that's 7.2 million. How much is he or she going on with as net? Then look at the purchasing power.
Exactly.
Look at rent. Even in states that you say are not viable, are not viable. Go there, rent go and look for a 2-bedroom flat.
Yeah, because the price of cement is still the same wherever. The price of rods and all that, it still remains the same.
It's the same. It's even going up.
So that doesn't necessarily
POP.
Yeah.
I was asking somebody about POP yesterday. He was telling me per square meter 10,000.
Really?
How much was POP as at 2023 before Tinubu came in? It was about maybe 3,500.
Imagine.
I was asking somebody about borehole yesterday, and he was telling me that a borehole that's said to be 650 feet, which as at 2023 was priced at 4 million. You'll now be talking of 7.5 to 8 million. 3 horsepower pumping machine that used to be 250,000, 290,000 as of 2023. Today it's over 400,000. So when you look at, when we look at building materials, we think it's only cement and rods. Yeah. No, there are some things. Look, let me tell you where you will know that building is not easy is when a plumber gives you quotations. You're going to see in the quote, you will see something 150. You will say 50 pieces. He may say maybe gum.
Yes.
He will just put maybe 1,000 naira. You see 10 pieces. You will see one very long list. You will just be seeing 200 naira. 200. But by the time you calculate that money, you'll be talking of 5 million naira. So, is it tiles? Don't go there. Is it tiles? Is it, name it? Is it ceiling? Is it ceilings? Name it. Even WC that used to be how much? 15,000 naira today. As at maybe 20 years ago. As at 12, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. 10,000 naira. WC is now about 60 something, 70,000 naira. Yes. I can name, not because of time, I can name other things. So when you talk about what we are talking about is this. Improve the purchasing power of people. And it's not just about the quantum of money they earn. It is about the fact that government should put certain incentives, economic incentives, that will make it easier, for people's earnings to make sense. Like for me, I've always said one thing, that you have set up a credit corp, a credit corporation. What you can do is that whatever you are doing, like if you say, okay, these lecturers, these, professors, that, okay, professor will earn 1 million notionally. Can say we earn 1 million notionally. But in reality, what comes to that professor is 600,000 naira every month. So notionally, you have 1 million. In gross, realistically, is 600,000. Now, the 400,000 can take care of certain things. You can, for instance, pay for a mortgage. You can, take care of your basic monthly needs, milk and the rest of them, bread, tea, and all those things. You can take care of certain things like commuting and all of that. Now, that money does not go to the person. The money is in a credit system. So you cannot access it except through certain things. The government has vendors all over the place. So the credit card has vendors. So if, let's say, you are servicing a mortgage, you can pay for it. If you are building a house, you can go to vendors, accredited vendors, approved vendors, and buy from there. So you can use that credit, even if it is 200,000 naira. We used to have something like that many years ago, value card, that banks gave to their employees for lunch. So when you were going to eat lunch, when you were going to have lunch, you didn't have to pay out of pocket. Okay. And which is a major problem in Nigeria. A lot of payments come from out of pocket. You are going to the hospital, is out of pocket. A doctor prescribed drugs, you pay out of pocket. But if you move these things, that's okay, that your notional pay will cover drugs, will cover health insurance, maybe to a certain percentage. So you can walk into any government hospital, you can walk into even a private hospital, accredited private hospital, and take treatment without bothering about how it's going to be paid for. So instead of government committing funds to health insurance, what you do is that you already have funds in the system. So that money you are warehoused with the banks, they are trading with it, and the money is just like the pensions and the contributory pension scheme, which has done better than the derived benefits scheme. So the contributory pensions, the employee pays 8%, the employer pays at least 7% or so. And then when you put that money together over a period, by the time the person, the pension fund custodian, invest this money in securities and all of that. So that even when the person is retired and you say, okay, I want a period, I want to take this scheme, either annuity or the other one, but the money, at least there is money coming to you because the money is being invested. The money is being invested, so the money is assured, it's coming to you. So when it's coming like that, at least people are sure that even upon retirement, there is something that will be coming to them. So when we look at it that way, it will make more sense. So people don't have to be going on strike because of salary, because they want you to add 150,000 naira to their salary. What does it do for you? 150,000 naira, divide it now by, let's say, 20 working days in a month. Let's say transport, let's say transport to and fro takes you maybe 2,000 naira. Go and check it now. That's already 40,000 naira out. You eat, you take care of other things.
You fuel your car.
So what's the point?
Actually, so bad. But
and if you fuel your car, it's even worse.
Even worse.
Because you may need 10 liters to your place of work and 10 liters back. How much is that? At today's price, let's even say average of a 750 naira per liter. That's 15,000 naira. That's 15,000 naira per day. Yes. Per day. Per day, times 20 days. That's, how much is that? Times 20. Is that not 300,000? Yes. How much did they add to the professor's salary? 140,000. So you see, the professor still has, I mean, 160,000 naira, he doesn't know where it will come from. And remember, it's gross, so that figure is gross.
Very so sad, because this and more are reasons why you see the best of our best, leave the country to other places. In Ghana, for example, a very small country, a professor takes home between 1.8 million naira and 2.2 million naira. That's what they take home in Ghana. In Nigeria, we're still struggling with having our professors earn less than 700,000 naira. And still, the people who run this feel they are doing the best of the jobs. Politicians those heading us and making laws for us, who have contributed nothing to Nigeria, are smiling home through the bank with lots of money and still complaining they are not even making more. Well, that is a sad reality we find ourselves. But that is what we have for today. Just to let you know, Emeka would still be here to take on our main conversation when we return. Ambassador vacuum exposes federal government's $9 million lobby deal. In a bit, it's still Enterprise Morning. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Thank you so very much for being back, and if you just joined us, Enterprise Morning it is, right here on Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. $9 million. Yes, you heard me right. $9 million. Lobbying contract signed by the federal government to manage Nigeria's image in the United States has intensified criticisms of Tinubu administration, with analysts and opposition parties describing it as evidence of diplomatic failure and misplaced priority. The deal, reportedly worth about 13 billion naira, was signed with Washington-based DCI Group amid growing international scrutiny over insecurity and allegations of targeted killings. Critics argue that Nigeria's failure to appoint ambassadors for over a year created a diplomatic vacuum that forced the government to rely on costly foreign lobbyists. Documents filed under the U.S. Foreign Agents Registration Act show the contract was facilitated through ESTA Legal on behalf of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, with a monthly fee of $750,000 and possible total of $9 million after renewal. Let's get talking. Emeka Madunagu is still here with us. That's the biggest issue we have today in Nigeria. A failure of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu living up to power is costing us $9 million, 13 billion naira that would have been diverted to some other more important things. But here we are.
How much would it have cost to... They said they didn't have money. That's why they are not appointing ambassadors. So how much would it have cost to maintain those ambassadors in a year? What have they been budgeting for missions over the years? And when we look at overall Nigeria's budgets for the past 20 or 25 years, I've not gone beyond 30%. 30% performance. So that means even whatever billions we budgeted for our missions did not meet expectation. That's why you had issues where some of our missions were short. Where our people were locked out.
Yeah, we couldn't pay rent.
We couldn't pay rent. We couldn't pay we couldn't pay for car parks.
And salaries for people.
We couldn't pay salaries. So guys were hustling now. Yeah. Diplomats were hustling. Yes. When you travel abroad and interact with our diplomats, honestly speaking, and you see the racketeering going on in terms of passports and all that, then you just wonder what kind of people, are in the leadership of this country. You just wonder. These people travel every time. They see these things, but it means zero to them. They travel on government expense. So you travel with your own money. You work hard, raise money, or through one sponsorship or the other, you travel abroad. And these people travel, they can spend 2 weeks doing nothing, just moving around with girlfriends and all that, shopping and all, doing nothing. They don't learn anything. And so how do you expect them to run the country? That is why we now have outsourcing. We now have to outsource core diplomatic functions. Yes, I know during Obasanjo's time, because the argument can be made that even Obasanjo paid lobbyists. I know. Yeah, during Obasanjo, even Jonathan paid lobbyists. Yes, I agree. But those ones came secondary to the core diplomatic responsibility. If you have a designated ambassador in a diplomatic position, Yes, then from there you can now.
One. I think
yes,
the will state that.
You can now say, okay. No, well, when you say responsible, it depends on your foreign policy goals. Because
when we have the wrong person in the right place, what do you think
will the US, for instance? No.
He will be invincible.
No, foreign policy depends on the stated objectives of the country. Like the US now, would President Donald Trump of the US say that there's any responsible Iranian ambassador from Iran? He wouldn't say so. Will Ukraine say there's any responsible ambassador from Russia or vice versa? But what we're even saying is this: you should have ambassadors. It is up to you. You should do appraisal. You should appraise their performance now from time. If you refuse to appraise performance of those in your employ, that's your business. That's your personal problem. But you need to do a performance audit from time to time. So for me, there are key issues in international diplomacy, and which is basically about engagement. You must engage the different interests in the world. We now have a unipolar world. Unlike when you had a Cold War, that, you had the North, you had the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Bloc. Communism versus, capitalism. Then Nigeria and many countries were in the South, the global South, and they were non-aligned. So, along the line, by 1997, communism collapsed. So, it meant a realignment of forces. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR, collapsed into different nations. And even nations within the old 22 republics of USSR, like Ingushetia, and all of that, and some others like that, are still fighting to become independent nations. So now we have a unipolar world. You have the United States, posturing, presenting itself as a global policeman, as a leader of the world, pushing Americanism, telling you that multilateralism, that the concept of the world as a global village is no longer viable, that rather America should lead the way. So Americanism should be pushed as a global doctrine. But to many, it's nauseating. It's not, because there are many things about the Americanism that are odious. That's why you interpret the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine that gives, that was negotiated in 1823 or 1824, that America now prided itself with the right to take certain actions globally in its own interests, masked as in global interests. So you must understand that. That is why you see, you cannot just send anybody out as your ambassador. That person must work within a nuanced portfolio. The person must understand the current context, realities of the global world order. The person must understand that, for instance, look at ECOWAS. ECOWAS are just clocked 50. They clocked 50 the other day. People are now calling it ECO-East. It's no more ECOWAS. It's now ECO-East, because 3 members have left and formed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. So that is the reality we have today. The reality we have today is that certain parts of Africa are demanding independence. You still have the Western Sahara still fighting. The other day, Republic of Somaliland was recognized by the United States, Israel, and some other nations. In Nigeria, you have Biafra. You have separatists agitating for Biafra. And they are not just sitting down quietly. It's a global, there is, a global pressure group. So, and then you have all of that in different places. Even as recently as in the UK, you even see today, you have people who want to pull out of the UK. Yes. Even in the United States, there are people who are saying that Texas should be a country of its own, California should go on its own, and all of that. So you have all of these breakaway sentiments around the world. How, as an ambassador, how do you now represent Nigeria in all of these things? How do you ensure that you push your diplomatic brief, depending on the country you are posted to, such that it works in the interest of Nigeria? If you remember, the Gulf War. What sparked up the Gulf War in 1990? There was this account that, after Iraq invaded Kuwait, that there was a meeting called to, resolve issues to ensure that Iraq left Kuwait peacefully. And that, of course, I think the Kuwaiti ambassador was said to have made certain remarks, that were negative, there were negative portrayals of Iraqi women, and it made things worse. And then Iraq now invaded Kuwait. So I don't want to repeat that because it was very nasty. And Iraq now invaded Kuwait. So when you look at that, if an ambassador could make comments that led to the invasion of his country, then what do you expect? What do you expect, the ambassador or the foreign minister? So what do you expect in the global order of today, where the United States could just send troops to go and kidnap the president of Venezuela? That tells you a lot. Where Nigeria is also a culprit too.
Yes.
Where we could send Air Force jets to go and put down a coup in Benin, bombing locations inside Benin Republic, where for the first time in Nigeria's 65 years of independence, a foreign power bombed locations in Nigeria for the first time, openly. The United States bombed locations in Sokoto State. So that tells you that the world order is changing. So outsourcing diplomatic engagements, diplomatic assignments to lobbyists, when you have not put the front order first, you cannot put the cat before the horse. You put the horse first. Mm-hmm. So in this case, the ambassador represents the horse, right? And then he has to pull the cat. And the cat contains the expectations, the possibilities, the engagements, and all of that his country, has entrusted to him. But instead of the horse being the ambassador, you now outsource it to different lobby groups whose stated objective is just commercial, just mercantile.
Yeah.
They don't have any patriotic objectives.
No, not at all.
It's all about money.
They're just brand influencers.
It's just about money. You have paid them the first 6 months. By July, you're going to pay them the balance. That's all. Hey, thank you. Just like social media influencers. You just pay a social media influencer or a model.
Yeah.
Just
They might not necessarily like your product or love it, but because you pay them, they just have to do the job.
Just come and sit down and in front of plates of food, a goosey and all that, and then just help us, to do a TVC of, some condiments and all of that.
So either it works or it doesn't work. It's none of their business.
I, for one, don't like condiments in my soup. Now you call me to come and model. Because of the money, I'll collect it. Even if after the modeling, I go to the bathroom to brush my teeth and all of that, or to throw up or retch or something like that to get out of my system. Yes. So now the global order has changed. So there are a lot of expectations. Look at Donald Trump. In his second term, it's all about money. You want a green card, you must pay $5 million. You want this. Any country that does business with Iran will be slammed with 25% tariffs. So you have countries that already have favorable relationships with you, but because of their relationship with Iran, now it's neither here nor there. So how does a country like Nigeria play in such a global field? So that's why you must send the best. But let me tell you, see the list of ambassadors. Honestly speaking, I've covered international affairs, for many years, and I don't see anybody who has the sagacity of the kind of people like Joe Garba. Who was Nigeria's ambassador to the United Nations. You have, people, you saw Maitama Sule, you have some others like that. Yes, who are, people who represent Bolaji Akinyemi.
Yes.
Bolaji Akinyemi who should actually be the foreign affairs minister. You put him in one MDA in one parastatal under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. To me, that's an insult. You should have made Bolaji Akemi the foreign affairs minister. And wouldn't be having all this mess we're having
with,
now. With Yusuf Tuga. Yes, you say Yusuf Tuga was Nigeria's ambassador to Germany. But what did we gain? What did we gain? What did we gain? No, you have to look at. Let's look at the objective. What did we gain from Germany? What place does Germany occupy in Nigerian affairs?
Exactly.
Beyond, okay, maybe automobiles, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and all. What role, really? Trading relationships, how are we benefiting? I see yesterday, some of the people in Tinubu's administration were talking about the fact that they went to Abu Dhabi and signed an agreement, a trade agreement, United Arab Emirates.
To waive certain products.
And I asked a question, exactly what are we expecting to gain from such a partnership? Because I remember that Muhammadu Buhari, the former president, went to Qatar with a full retinue of ministers and others. Until today, nothing. We were supposed to have reciprocal flights between Nigeria and Qatar. Up till now, it's only Qatar Air that has been flying in. Yes, maybe there may be some airlines flight, but the frequency of flights, what has it gained? What have we gained? We're even the ones that have been begging the UAE, United Arab Emirates. When did these people even begin to see the light? Even China. What was China in the 70s?
Exactly.
Many of these countries, what were they? What were they 100 years ago? What were they 100 years ago? We can define what Nigeria was 100 years ago because we've marked 100 years of the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914. In 2014, we marked it. And 2014 to this year is 12 years, right? Yeah. Because the amalgamation was on January 1, 1914. January 1, 1914. So now we've marked the 100 and 2014 to now the 112th year of the amalgamation. And we know what Nigeria was as at that time. But many of these nations, what were they? How many of them had electricity at that time? How many of them, had solid engagements globally? How many of them? Don't forget that during the Second World War, somebody like Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu, the father of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, he gave trucks free from his Ojukwu Transport Company. He gave out free trucks that were used to carry soldiers from Nigeria. Yeah. He gave out trucks free. When was the Second World War? Was it on 1939 to 1945? I imagine at that time, the influence Nigeria played at that time. So we can begin to see a lot of things. So what is our Nigerian doctrine? The United States has the Monroe Doctrine. What is our own? What's our own doctrine? What is our stated foreign policy objective? What are we out to get? Or is it just anywhere, If the United States says, okay, we are designating your country of particular concern, then we just bring money and start paying lobbyists. Let me tell you, see this $9 million contract is a waste of money. They should have used that money. If they are taking like 3 billion out of that 13 billion and gone to Plateau, Benue, and Taraba, to rebuild those damaged communities. I don't think
people out of.
I think between 3 billion and 5 billion. If they said, okay, let's use 5 billion to resettle people, let's end this IDP, matter in Nigeria. Let's resettle people back in their villages, or if their villages are not safe, but let's look for some places where they can have temporary protected status, TPS. Yes. It's a global designation. Temporary protected state, refugee status.
Or why can't we even make the villages the same protection zones?
Yes, so that anybody who is displaced can come and stay there. But we're not doing that. Instead, you're going to waste money. These guys are not going to, because let me tell you something. Ellie Wells, who is the chief of staff to President Donald Trump, was a lobbyist for IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu's group. She was a lobbyist for IPOB. So I see that some people, some commentators have been trying to make it all about Biafra groups. pro-Biafra groups.
Yeah,
they are the ones instigating. And I say you are playing a wrong, very dangerous game. Because somebody doesn't know where the corpse was buried. Like my people say in Igbo, we want to go and exhume it from the legs. Ellie West was an advisor to IPOB in the United States. Now, she is the chief of staff to Donald Trump. So who do you think will have a better access to the ears of Donald Trump? You have people like Senator Ted Cruz.
Yes.
You have Rep. Riley Moore. You have other people, very influential people. You have Mike Arnold. Why did Renaud Mokrigan?
Yes.
Why did Renaud Mokrigan pick Mike Arnold? If Mike Arnold was just one Trump, if he was a non-it, he was one Trump policy, he wouldn't have picked him. But look at what these people are doing. Mike Arnold has said, don't worry, you know, there was one influencer, Mimi Efombro, who was saying that all the efforts they made, that they have gone, you know, with us, and he said, no, I'm not going to waste. Now, what is lobbying of justice? You know that we have deeper issues than what these guys are parroting. There are deeper issues which we are pushing. And the narrative, we are pushing the narrative strongly that, you know, they are persecuting and killing Christians in Nigeria. Yes, that, you know, these jihadists, that there's extremism in Nigeria. Yes, they said, oh, the other day, oh, at last, Donald Trump admits killing of Muslims. Is it not a shame? You even had, so there's now a debate about how many Muslims, or you know, whether there are more Muslims or Christians are being killed. Are we no longer Nigerians? So you see, in this desperate bid to avoid responsibility, you now end up exposing your inadequacies to the world, and that is why they've done this thing. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to. They should go and ask Jonathan now. When they were trying to handle the Chibok, what happened? Already, Muhammadu Buhari and Tinubu and others had already moved ahead with their lobbying, and they were able to get the attention of Barack Obama, and turned it, you know, to their own advantage against Jonathan.
And that's what is coming back to President Bola.
Yeah, so let them realize that the things they told John Kerry, these things were documented now. You can't go into the U.S. State Department. I've been to the U.S. State Department, you know. I've been to, you know, some offices in the White House. You understand? I've been to the Pentagon, you know, the headquarters of the U.S., you know, defense. I've been to all these places. And one thing is certain, when you're entering there, every meeting you have is taped.
And documented.
Is documented to the last letter. Everything you said, every comma, every full stop, everything is documented. So when you went to this to the U.S. State Department, you held a meeting with John Kerry in 2012. What were you thinking? That they were not recorded, and then all these things have been put together. So now you are in power, and they now put all these things. You are not being weighed, and you have found wanting. You've been weighed in the balance, and you have found wanting. You're not making excuses. It doesn't work. So, but these people, the problem with them is that limited exposure to how the international system works, you know, makes them just jump from place to place. Look at Nuhu Ribadu, National Security Advisor, who was caught in a video begging, let's say, we just want to go back to our normal lives. We just want you to help us. National Security Advisor? You are not sitting up with confidence and telling the United States that, well, we are ready to engage you. We need your assistance, but it will be on a bilateral basis. This is what you stand to gain. This is what you stand to gain. This is what we stand to gain. That's what you have to tell them. That's why, you see, a friend of mine was telling me that where the U.S. president hosts a world leader, tells you how he values that world leader. Okay. If he takes a world leader to Camp David, that is the highest respect. Remember,
if he takes them to
remember when, you know, I mean, okay, because of time, when Yasser Arafat and an Israeli leader were hosted in Camp David to reach an agreement, but Yasser Arafat missed that moment. He insisted, no, that he wouldn't agree. Name it. No, Malaga, of course, is Donald Trump's private enterprise. But I'm talking about U.S. institutions that show how the president values you. If the president is a golfer and he invites you to play golf with him, that is a measure of the respect the president has for you. And so on and so forth. So I think these people should spend time reading books. They should spend time doing research, because I'm a researcher. They should spend time doing research. Or let them engage people who are seasoned researchers. I'm not asking them to come and engage me. Seasoned researchers who will give them quality advice. And when these people give them quality advice, let them listen. It's not everything that they will turn to politics. It's not everything you turn to pandering and no. The world order has changed. And lobbying will not cut it. It won't cut it. It won't cut it because the people you're up against, Senator Ted Cruz, the people you're up against are not low-level congressional aides. I've been to the U.S. Congress. I mean, 2001, I interviewed a congressman. I saw how they work in the U.S. Congress and all of that. So when you hold meetings, who are they? What cadre, what caliber of congressional aides are going to attend those meetings? What caliber of White House officials are going to attend those meetings? I have to tell you that, like the Yorubas will say, "Owo ti wogbo." Owo wogbo. That is the money has jumped into the bush. It's gone.
Yes,
it's lost.
We just lost $9 million as we speak. Lots of people who understand reputation management would agree with me that in order to help remedy your image, you don't run away from it. You embrace it, then you find a way around it so as to appease to your internal and external publics. When you refuse deliberately out of not knowing what to do or knowing what to do but refusing to do it, it would definitely boomerang on you. And that's what's happening to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is far away from Nigeria, somewhere in the UAE, while Nigeria's image is drowning as a result of misplaced priority on his own part. Emeka said it's important these people should start reading. I do not know how much President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reads. I do not know how much of those within the corridor of power read and engage people who understand better. Well, they say when a nation is ruled by and with propaganda, then there's no saving for that country, and that's where we have found ourselves as a people. That's all we have for today. Emeka, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have to leave it at this point. Thank you so very much for being part of it. Please do well to follow us. You can read up on everything we've talked about today when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igubike. God bless Nigeria. May Nigeria rise again with the right leaders. Bye-bye from me.